So the Chicago Sky's draft and stash player was drafted and is now being stashed, and fans that do not understand anything about the sport of basketball are losing their damn minds. Yeah, where apparently I'm looking at this and people are demanding complete reform of the entire structure of the draft, demanding that if international players don't come over as rookies, they shouldn't be allowed to be drafted. She's 19. She's not going to make the roster, and I can guarantee you, if she literally missed out on the playoffs, like she came out, not missed out on playoffs. She came over during the playoffs of her league season. She came over for the draft. Aisha Sivka wants to be a WNBA player, and she wants to be in the WNBA almost certainly right away. And if you guys are wondering why she's not in the WNBA, it's because it benefits the Chicago Sky for her to not come over this year. It benefits the Chicago Sky. And everyone be like, international prospects should have a deadline before deciding if they're going to play or not. This is getting old. The Chicago Sky, 1, knows she's 19, and 2, how many draft and stash prospects have we seen in sports? People always act stupid. The season isn't over. We're not tanking. We knew this on draft day. Yeah, exactly. It's just, and some of these report by the start of camp and the next CBA has to be addressed. Like, I'm sorry. Every single, oh, I need to unmute Underdog WNBA. I literally muted it for the draft. Do people not realize why Aisha Sivka was drafted so high despite that? She is a 19-year-old 6'4" shooter who plays defense. She's not ready now because is she as good as Maddie Westbell today? Maybe. Maddie Westbell is going to sit on the end of that bench for a few years. And Maddie Westbell is, 4 years older or 3 years older than... No, she was a super senior. She is 4 years older than Aisha Sivka. They're about similar level right now. So, would you rather have, at the end of your bench, an Aisha Sivka sitting on the end of your bench, wasting a year to 2 years of her rookie deal, and not coming over? Or would you rather Aisha Sivka wait 2 years, come over at 21 years old, still super young in 2027, or even next year at 2021, coming over, starting the rookie deal a year later, so on a more team-friendly contract for longer, which means you have her for longer on a rookie deal, and do a Leonie Fibish. Leonie Fibish is one of the best contracts in the WNBA. She comes over as a 24-year-old rookie on $60K a year and playing like a board, like, literally, everyone's being like, oh, Leonie Fibish, why am I so hyped on her? She was literally the Liberty's defense in the playoffs, shot 50% from 3, and averaged 12 points per game in the playoffs. She set the record for rookie points in the playoffs, did it while being the same age as Kate Martin. Like, everybody talking about how old Leonie Fibish is, same age as Kate Martin. And, like, it became one of the most beneficial things that she came over late. If you can have somebody that comes over on a 4-year deal at 21, 22, or 20, 21 years old instead of 19, rather than waste a year of their rookie deal, you suddenly then have her when she's ready. When you have to pay Angel and Camilla, rather than having to pay Angel, Camilla, and a year later you're going to have to pay Sivka, you're going to have to pay Angel and Camilla whatever the max is after a couple of years. But you've got 2 more years of Sivka on a rookie deal. It makes so much sense. But again, I've seen some crazy, crazy things. Some crazy things that people are saying here. The amount of people that have said, I've seen the amount of xenophobic things. I've seen. And again, some stuff it was like, everybody knew. Someone said, it's not fair to actual Americans. Explain to me how it is not fair to Americans. I mean this. I genuinely mean this. So, it's not fair to an American. Why? So they don't get drafted. Getting drafted doesn't guarantee you of anything. The Chicago Sky knew she wasn't coming over and chose to take her. How is it not fair on an American? How is it not fair on an American? And you know, Anastasia Kosu is an overseas player coming over. She's going to get cut. Madison Scott has been cut and she was picked 14th. Why is that not unfair on Tahina Paopao that, you know, she just didn't make the team? Cheyenne Sellers was taking 17th. Is that not unfair on Tahina Paopao? Like, it's not the WNBEU, it's the WNBA. The league needs to protect roster spots. Sivka might not have made the team. And ironically, and I mean this when I say this, if the Chicago Sky had taken Sania Rivers with the 10th pick, you know who misses out on the team? Maddie Westbelt. That's the only thing that they miss out on. Like, how dumb are people? How dumb are people? You can take a 19-year-old who is as good as a 22-year-old player, and you can have them sit out a year or two. You own their rights. Even if Sivka wanted to come over, she doesn't have to. The Liberty don't have to offer anything. You own her rights. Like, Sivka showed up for the draft. Sivka wants to play in the WNBA. It's not like some of the overseas players that did not show up for the draft. Sivka is not in the WNBA because the Sky don't want her this year. She would have made the roster as the 12th player. The Sky are happy out having Maddie Westbeld. The Sky are no worse with Maddie Westbeld there as the 12th player as they would be with Aisha Sivka as the 12th player. But the Sky are going to be way better off in 2028. They're going to be way better off in 2028 when Aisha Sivka still has 2 to 3 years left on her rookie deal. You have to pay Angel and Camilla, and you have the perfect small forward to play with the two of them. You're going to have to pay the two of them. You got that perfect small forward coming in, and you still have 1 year left to Hailey Van Lith. What you don't want is that you have to pay 4. You don't want to have to pay 4 if you're going to keep them all together, and then whoever's coming through, whatever free agents. You don't want to do that. You want to maximize the amount of years the players are effective on rookie deals. And that's why you're seeing the fever. That's what you're seeing. Yeah, the fever. The fever trying to maximize the fact that Aaliyah Boss and Caitlin Clark are on rookie deals. So they're spending big right now. Because in a couple of years, when the two of them are on max deals, it's going to be a lot trickier to build around them. It's going to be a lot trickier to get these players around them. So they have it this year and they have next year. And that is what the Fever have to do. They have realistically, because there's a hard cap, they've got 2 years while they're still on rookie deals to be super successful. And you might be saying, oh, but like a lot of teams that win have had players that aren't on rookie deals. But if you look, Asia Wilson, I'm pretty sure, like she was on a rookie deal when she won her first MVP. That was when they built, I know obviously when she was at her best when they had Chelsea Gray, but when they were winning their rings, when they won their titles, they got Kelsey Plum on a steal because she wasn't that great for the first couple of years. Jackie Young was still on a rookie deal for that first title. Aja Wilson signed whatever deal she signed. And like that was the first year of her like main deal kicking in. So it's a really interesting one all around with this because it makes so much sense what they're doing. But it's like, even when the Valkyries drafted Josite, the amount of abuse that was given, and what the Valkyries did in the expansion draft, the Valkyries, and people don't realize it, like, you are getting players, if you go to Europe now, because historically European players did not come over, but nowadays, European players are coming over to the WNBA because with the new CBA, it's more beneficial for them to come over than before. Back in the day, it was more beneficial for them to not play over in the WNBA, to just play as a local in the European leagues because they made more money and it wasn't worth it to not play with the national team for 60 grand. But they know that the level of these players, and by the best players in the world are still Americans. They're without question still Americans. But just like in the men's game, it is a world game. Like, it's a little bit now, if you looked back in the 80s and the 90s, especially late 80s, early 90s, a lot of the best European players started coming over then to the NBA, and they were on steal deals. And suddenly you were getting Vlade Divac on the cheap. All these type of players. Drazen Petrovic on the cheap. Skoni Kukoc on the cheap. But as time went on, the league became more of a world game. And you're not going to be able to get that again. And what these teams are doing right now is they're getting players that are worth 150K for 66K. And you're doing that because there is players or teams don't want to invest big money in a player with the chance they might leave for Eurobasket, with the chance they might go and leave and not come back and just randomly decide they don't want to play in the WNBA anymore. And it's how like Carla Late fell into Golden State's lap. It's how all of these things happened. And it's one of those things that the teams that fully buy into this and get players that really want to come over and benefit their organizations are going to benefit seriously from what's going to happen in the next 3 to 4 years. The teams that look European, because European players are extremely undervalued. I'm not saying they're the best players in the world, but what I'm saying is you can get a player on a minimum contract that if they were American would be double the salary. You can get someone for half the salary just because historically there's a chance the player might leave and teams don't trust them, which is why you can get a Janelle Salone on the minimum, which is why you can get a Carla Late with 4 years of a rookie deal in an expansion draft. It's why you can get Julie Van Loo out of an expansion draft from a team that's like, well, to be fair, not fully trying to tank. So yeah, and as well as this with Sivka, if Sivka doesn't come over till 2027, she's still going to be one of the youngest players in the WNBA. Like, if she does not come over this season or next season, she's still probably going to be one of the 5 youngest players in the WNBA. Jade Melbourne was the youngest player in the WNBA last year, or second youngest. Sika Kone was the youngest. Both of them were in their third years. And both of them, like, outperformed a lot of people in that 2024 WNBA draft class. So it's a smart thing to do. It's a smart thing to look overseas, a smart thing to start looking at Australia. And again, if the players are good enough, can't get better value elsewhere. Like, if you look at a lot of American players that have just stuck around the league, what they're costing, like how much Mercedes Russell cost. Whereas Ileana Rupert is twice the player of Mercedes Russell. Tierra McCowan sits on the bench and barely plays for Merson overseas. And she's making $200,000 a year. While Ileana Rupert is their best player, bar none, including Natasha Howard, Bridget Carlton, and Carly Samuelson. And it's a real interesting thing to see what's going on with that. And I think the teams that fully buy into this, and the teams that take advantage of this newfound, or of the fact that players from overseas are going to come over more and more often, are gonna boom. Like, they're going to have a lot of success because of it. Just like the Bulls when they got Kukoc on the cheap. Just like the Mavs trusting in Dirk. Just like the Memphis Grizzlies getting by far the best player in that draft in third because teams didn't really trust Europeans in Pau Gasol. Then it'll go the opposite way. If Malonga's a success, if she's a success, where there's going to be some Europeans like a Darko, like a Bargnani, that just simply put are not good enough, but get drafted really, really high because teams overcorrect. They'll overcorrect their misevaluation of talent, and then they will attribute, just like since Bargnani, people didn't like European bigs. Then they drafted Kristaps because, like, obviously in between there was like Jan Vesely, Valanciunas didn't look good at the start of his career. Then they draft Kristaps and he's looked unbelievable. So then the next year, Dragan Bender's there, and in most years he should have been a late lottery pick, but because of Kristaps, he's high. And just like you maybe make the argument that the reason why Aisha Sivka's so high is because teams made a huge fuck ups with constantly trading Leonie Fibic's rights. But anyway, yeah, it is just an all around interesting thing, and I do think that it's best for all parties involved if she doesn't come over. I think it's best for her to not sit on the bench for a year, because even though she might sit on the bench for a lot of next year, you might as well just keep Maddie Westbeld there. She's going to do the exact same thing. And for the Sky, you get extra years on her rookie deal. But anyway, I'll see you guys.